It's the Gear Tester here, and welcome to part 3 of my video series documenting the carving of a small cedar canoe paddle. I'm using driftwood that I found off the coast of Washington in the San Juan Islands. And the footage that you're going to see here is me carving the piece of wood. I'm trying to split a piece of wood again off the cedar driftwood so that I have a better board through which I can then carve my canoe paddle out of. This is the third and final video in this series.
That's what I was afraid of. Got right there and it break off. It's okay.
Outer edge when you're in the sack. That's white, so you're splitting the sack.
Boy, that heartwood is a lot nicer. That's a lot straighter piece right there. It's a pretty straight little piece. Fortunately, it's wet on this side.
And that's where I stopped filming, unfortunately. I'm not sure whether I turned the GoPro off. I know the battery didn't die, but I must have just stopped filming. So I don't have the rest of the footage that I did as I cut and whittled this down. Basically, you saw me there finishing the board, the blank piece of board that I was going to carve into the canoe paddle. So basically what I did afterwards, and you guys could probably figure this out, is I basically had a board, right? The whole length from the handle there to the end of the paddle. And it was just squared off, went up there to the top. And so what I just did is I cut in here very carefully, and cut in, and then I did the same thing. I cut from this way in. I know it's not perfectly symmetrical, but it's functional. And that's how I ended up making the paddle overall. Just once I had that board, I did slim the thickness of the paddle down so it would be lighter weight, although this is a relatively short paddle, so it's not a problem. One thing I should mention is I'm on a sailing trip, and so we were island hopping in the San Juans. Another thing is you may not realize how small the Grand Force Brooks mini hatchet is. Here is my hand. It covers the head. This is a relatively small tool. It weighs only 12 ounces overall. And this was a good tool to use. I was very surprised at how easy it was to work the cedar. Now that's because cedar is very easy to work with, but this little hatchet on other pieces of wood over the trip did a really good job of cutting, of chopping, and of sculpting, particularly this cedar here. It was really fun to do that.
There's the paddle in use. It's partially finished. It needs a little more work, but we'll see how it works here. It got me back to the ship. Could have been ever so slightly longer, but it's functional. And I know better for next time. There you go. Cedar paddle made using the Grand Force Brooks mini hatchet.
The total time that I spent making this paddle was about 2 hours. From cutting it from a plank, just a piece of driftwood that I found on the beach, from cutting it out into that board, from honing it down, carving it, making it, smoothing that board out, and then carving in the handle portion was about 2 hours. A good section of that time was spent with my Benchmade Griptilian, just making it smooth, carving it out, and spending time that I wouldn't have had to if I'd had a real emergency and needed to make this paddle to get back to my boat. If you like this video, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel for more quality video reviews that focus on shooting, camping, and survival gear. Also, if you subscribe to my channel, that means you'll be a subscriber when this video comes out on this much larger paddle. Yeah, that's quite a bit larger than that little paddle right there, and I've got a lot better footage of from start to finish making of this paddle. And I did use my Grand Force Brooks mini hatchet, but I also used my Grand Force Brooks small forest axe on this particular paddle right there. So if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and you'll be alerted when my video on that larger paddle comes out in a week or so. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for your views and your subscriptions. This is TheGearTester signing off. It's TheGearTester here, and welcome to part 3 of my video series documenting the carving of a small cedar canoe paddle. I'm using driftwood that I found off the coast of Washington in the San Juan Islands. And the footage that you're going to see here is me carving the piece of wood. I'm trying to split a piece of wood again off the cedar driftwood so that I have a better board through which I can then carve my canoe paddle out of. This is the third and final video in this series.